Hello, my name is Clark Miller, and I'm professor and director of the Center for Energy and Society at Arizona State University. And I am delighted to welcome you to this overview of our training program on how to enhance energy projects through social value creation. This training program is brought to you by my team here at the Center for Energy and Society and Arizona State University, as well as our partner organization led by Mr. Wilborn Showers, the Center for Economic Research and Capacity Building in Sierra Leone. And the motivation for this course is very simple. The world is going to fall far short by 2030 unless we make some significant changes in achieving the goals that we have laid out through the United Nations to provide clean energy for all by 2030 under Sustainable Development Goal 7. And you can see here an estimate a few years ago, but not a lot has changed on where current progress is, where we expect to be by 2030 under the new policies scenario of the folks at the Sustainable Energy for All, and that's the yellow, and the hashed yellow, which is the gap that we currently face in achieving SDG 7. And it's that gap that's really the motivation and focus for this training program. How are we going to fill that gap? So to solve this problem, we believe we need to tackle two fundamental challenges. We need to significantly increase investment in new energy projects that bring clean energy to poor communities around the world. And we need each of those projects to maximize its societal impact. So we need more money, but we also need that money to be more effective in delivering value through these energy projects. And we believe we can do both of those things if we're able to design and deliver energy projects that create high levels of social value for energy users. And so this is the focal point of our training over these 4 courses that you're about to embark on. How do we do that? Well, in this training program, our aim is to teach you precisely that, how to enable and empower people to use energy to create social value. And the key innovation here is that in addition to closing the technology switch, which is to say to enable energy access as has conventionally been understood, to design technology projects that bring energy into these communities. We also need to flip the social switch. That is, we need to think about how people use the energy that's provided by projects to create social value. And we need to take insights from that social side of the design problem and feed that back into the design of the energy project at the get-go. In other words, we can't just keep designing energy projects the way we have conventionally designed energy projects as technology projects. We have to integrate into the design the goal of enabling and empowering people to create social value when they use the energy that's coming out of these projects. So the potential impact of improved social value creation from energy projects is enormous. And here you see a graph that shows energy use per person on the horizontal axis and human development index on the vertical axis. And what you see here is a curve that shows you in a very clear way that as a country, if you're able to convert energy into value more effectively, you are able to generate higher levels of human development index, and you're able to generate human development, economic development, at lower per capita energy costs for your economy. If you think about the vertical axis here, you can see countries that are essentially using the same level of energy use per capita, but they are achieving very different levels of human development as a result of that. So countries that are toward the top of this graph, especially on that left-hand edge where you see all of those countries stacked up vertically, those countries are at the top of that, are delivering far higher levels of human development at the very same level of energy use per capita, right? They're delivering more value per energy input into their economy. And likewise, if you look across the top of this graph where you see countries stretched out horizontally, those countries all have very similar levels of human development index, but they're using very different levels of energy use per capita to get there. And again, it's the same thing. Those countries that are on the left-hand end of this very familiar graph to any of us who work in the energy space, those countries at the left-hand edge of that of the graph are countries that are using far less energy per capita to deliver the same value of human development and economic development as their neighbors that are further out to the right, who are not getting more value out of their energy use, but who are using lots more energy and therefore expending lots more money on energy in their economy. So in other words, what this graph really tells us, we often say this graph tells you that if you use more energy per capita, you will get more development out of it. But what this graph really tells you is that if you are able to convert energy into value efficiently, the more efficiently you're able to do that, to convert energy into value, the higher levels of economic development you can achieve and the lower costs you will encumber in order to achieve that development, which is a big deal. So this training is really intended for anyone who's involved in designing, constructing, funding, regulating, or planning energy projects or energy investments. And it's really focused on energy project design to generate high levels of social value. So our objective is to help you learn how to make your investments in energy projects more socially impactful and more valuable to the communities that they serve. And as a result, to increase human development and lower the relative energy costs to your economy. The training program is designed around 4 courses. You can see them here. Course 1 is creating social value from energy. Course 2 is designing human-centered energy projects. Course 3 is disentangling the nexus of energy and poverty. And course 4 is tools and methods for analyzing and increasing social value creation in energy projects. So courses 1 through 3 provide the fundamentals, and course 4 provides the tools for putting those fundamentals to use. So course 1, creating social value from energy. In this course, you will learn what social value is, how energy projects can help or unfortunately hinder its creation by households, businesses, and communities. You'll get key ideas and concepts and have a chance to explore a number of different examples of energy projects that have created significant social value. In course 2, we really focus in on people. In this course, you learn why, in order to get social value creation, we have to focus on the human factors in energy project design, which means paying attention to people's beliefs, their attitudes, their values, their knowledge, their skills, their capabilities, their needs, their opportunities, right? All kinds of things that we're very not used to in thinking about how to design energy projects. We're used to thinking about wires, we're used to thinking about batteries, we're used to thinking about solar panels and micro hydro dams and all the technical challenges. And believe me, it's hard enough sometimes just to get the technology to work right to deliver energy. But the truth is, if we want to get real value out of that energy, we have to go further than just technology in our engineering design practices. we really have to think about how those engineering design practices serve the social design of these projects. And along the way, we'll focus on how gender, for example, can be integrated into strategies for increasing the social value of energy. Third course focuses on something that we call the energy poverty nexus. So unfortunately, one of the big challenges for a lot of energy projects is that while we have historically assumed that if you bring energy into a community, it will be a net positive for that community. I mean, after all, they'll get lighting, they'll get the ability to electrify business appliances, et cetera, right? All of which is to the good. Improve healthcare, great. The problem is that energy projects also inevitably come with costs and burdens and risks. And if the ways in which the project works creates greater burdens and risks and costs for the community than it does net benefits, then actually it can detract from the community's ability to create value. It can actually make the community worse off, can exacerbate poverty. And so if we want to ensure that energy projects work over time to reduce and eliminate poverty, to enhance local economic and social development, then we have to do energy projects differently. We have to design them to untangle this energy poverty nexus and make it work generatively for the community. That's kind of the focus of course 3. And then finally, course 4 is about tools and methods for putting these ideas to work in the day-to-day practices of energy project conceptualization, design, and implementation. So with that, thank you so much from the Center for Energy and Society, Center for Economic Research and Capacity Building in Sierra Leone, and the funding organizations that have helped make this work possible, that including the Energy and Economic Growth Program at Oxford Policy Management, which is ultimately funded by UK aid. Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to be here with you and looking forward to seeing you many times as the training program proceeds.